Hi friends, Renee Keys here with Carolina Creative. I'm a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator here with card making ideas for you. Today I'm back to using one of the stamp sets that I really liked. This is a Stampin' Die set. This bundle is retiring at the end of April. So I thought I'd have one last go at it and kind of make a fun, quirky little card using the Ice Cream Swirl. I will use a couple of dies today, so I'm going to do my die cutting first. And I do have, it's the outline of the swirly ice cream top, and I'm just going to die cut that in white. So I'm going to put that on my cutting plate. And then I have a piece of crumb cake, and I am using the cone die, but I really only want the bottom half. Remember, if you cut the whole thing, you can actually fold it in half so that the ice cream cone would open like a card. I've got just an old piece of washi tape on here to kind of hold it in place, because I've also got the plate here that will give me the texture. You'll see that in just a minute. So I'm going to put that on my cutting plate. And now I had everything organized here. I will flip my camera down as soon as I get this lined up, because I don't want to move it. All right, so here's my work table, and I'll try to adjust that to show what I'm working with. And I'm going to run this through my stamp and emboss machine. And I did 2 at a time. So I'm cutting both pieces at the same time. And now I'm going to just move this to the floor so it's out of my way. So now what I should have is my ice cream shape that I'm going to stamp. And you can already see my cone has popped right out of there because I just cut the lower half. I do like using the card that when it folds open, it's really, really cute. But for today, this is going to be just fine because I'm actually doing a fun fold with my card base. So get that out of my way. Now what I did, I picked white cardstock, thick white, and I just left 2 inches at the bottom, and then the other 3.5 is at the top. So it'll open this way, because what I'm going to do is put my cone on here, and then when I'm all done, my ice cream will go on top. I did pull out some of the Dandy Design paper. This is also last chance right now, and I just picked a swirl. You can see I'm kind of going with pale peach pie color. That's this type of color, and I've got a little bit of this zigzag that's got 2 different shades of orange and a little bit of purple in there. So I've got a strip to go on the bottom, and then I'm trying to focus a little bit more on the top. So what I want to do is my stamping. I have got the swirly ice cream design here, and let me go ahead and ink up and stamp and get to move on with assembling this card. So I'm going to, and this is a big enough piece die cut here that I think it should be pretty easy to line up, which is why I die cut first. A lot of times I stamp first and then die cut, and that's where the washi tape also comes in handy for holding it in place. So there's my ice cream. And there's my cone. Now inside the card, I picked one of the sentiments off of the With You in Mind. I like this a lot. And I just wanted it to say happy birthday. This card, it could be for a child, or it could be for an adult. It could be for just about anybody. It's going to look really cute, I think, when I get it done. So let me stamp happy birthday inside here. Like that. And then the last thing I want to stamp is, I am probably going to cut it apart, but I wanted, yep, I'm going to stamp, it's going to be two-tone. It's going to say Make a Wish. And that doesn't show up a whole lot, does it? Let me try Calypso Coral, which is a little darker. So I'm going to give myself 2 options here. I'm going to flip it over. Yeah, I can already tell. This is going to be a little bolder. Yep, I like that. Now, what I'm thinking, I had some leftover die cuts from the swirl, so I'm having to decide if I want to place some of this on here just to give it a little more color, a little more emphasis maybe with the looking like a swirl. And this could go just about anywhere. I could pick 2 points to do that. And then I can still take my Wink of Stella. I'm going to squish this, see if I can. Some of these pads have gotten so stiff now that we can't, oh, it worked, that we can't do that much anymore. It's really hard. I would have to put some ink on a block and just use it from there. So I'm just going to add a little bit of color to a couple of these other layers. And this must be my Wink of Stella that's drying up on me. It's about done. So let me switch. See if this one's any better. And I'm going to put some down here too. I want a couple more swirls, a little more depth here. Yeah, this one's working better. Just to give me a little more color and contrast. But I am thinking I like that I'm going to put those swirls on there. That gives it a little more depth too, makes it a little more 3D. Okay, so with that done, I'm done with the ink. Let's start playing with how we're going to assemble this. My initial thought was I'm going to cut the words out, but let me lay this out first. Here's my liquid glue. I think this is just going to be easy enough to assemble with a little bit of liquid glue. I like these dandy designs. There's a bunch of bright, colorful papers in there. And so, like I said, it is last chance. But if you like it, there's great colors, some greens, some blues, these purples and oranges. And I did get that over just a little too far. There we go. And now I'm going to put more of this pretty pale orange. It almost, if I swirled it, it would look like a vanilla ice cream with orange sherbet, or, you know, a creamsicle type look. So let's put this up here, and I'll start figuring out where my cone's going to go, if it's going to fit the whole thing, or if I'm going to have to trim the bottom, which I have done a couple of times. So I think, yeah, I think I might want to put the cone a little lower, and I'll trim that edge, and I'll put the ice cream, although it's fitting if I put the ice cream overlapping the cone. You know, you can play with this. It doesn't have to sit all the way on top. And I gave myself a little extra. I mean, technically, I think I'm supposed to trim this, and I'm going to trim it just to show what it should look like. There we go. So that makes it just a little smaller. But I do think I'm going to center this on here, and then I'll, again, figure out my placement. But I think the whole cone will fit. I can make it fit. Yep. Okay, so I will use a little bit of my Stamp and Seal. Get these corners. Get this to adhere. And you can see I'm leaving a white border. I'm not going, you know, wall to wall with all the color. Just enough to make it a little bit of design, a little bit of pattern here. And then trying to make it different. So what I do want to do with this is cut this apart. I'm going to cut the words to separate them. And then I am going to make them smaller. That was just a scrap that I had handy. So I'm going to put a couple of angle cuts here. So it says make. This will be a tiny little piece. Not too tiny. Make a wish. There we go. Let me get all those scraps out of there. So now I might put make up there. Wish over here. Yeah, I'm liking it. I'm liking it. Okay, so the first thing is to glue down my ice cream cone, but remember that I don't want the top half to have any adhesive on it because that would seal the card shut. So I'm only going to put my Seal Plus on the bottom, just enough to hold it. So I had this at a jaunty angle here. Yep. Now what I could have also done, that's going to come up. Yep, I could have done it the other way. I could have glued it from the top, but now it's too late because I've already done it, so that it would open. Now, let me think about something else. If I want to, I can make it slide under there. I think I'm going to trim the top of that cone before I'm done. But for right now, I want my ice cream to sit like this. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it tuck under there. So I'm only going to put adhesive on the top half, or the top third, really. I am doing this on the fly. So now if I do it like that, get it lined up. Look at that. For right now, I'm going to leave it out. So now I'm going to take my liquid glue and put my sentiments on here. So it says make a wish. And then I'm going to add more color to my ice cream too. And I cut that at unusual angles. There's no, this isn't rocket science. You know, you can get pretty creative with this. So now I'm going to seal this shut for right now, just so I can figure out where I want to put my little swirls. This one I think is supposed to actually fit up there, but this one I was just going to place under it. Yep, like that. Okay, so a very little bit of liquid glue. I'm just going to dot it on here. I don't want it oozing out. And I may even put Wink of Stella on there to make that layer sparkly too. And now a few dots on here, gently. Okay. I do want to make sure the edges are adhered. And now I'm just going to put clear. I'm not inking this and coloring it or anything. I'm just putting some clear on there. All right. The only other thing I think I want to add are just a few rhinestones. Let's put just a little sparkle on here. Oh, that one fell right off. Kind of maybe around my sentiments here. So let me show you what I've done. This was kind of fun, playing on the fly. So make a wish. I've got a little bit of DSP behind it. It separates the cone from the ice cream topping, and then inside says happy birthday. So just a little fun. The other thing I did have laying on my work table was, this was left over from another card, but I had a die cut cherry. And I just think the cherry on top is going to be an extra special addition. So let me tuck that back in. And I'm going to use a dimensional on that and make that cherry just pop right off the card. So let's put a dimensional on the back side. Take off the backing and kind of up toward the top, but not exactly. It's just sitting on the ice cream. There we go. You couldn't see what I was doing, but I just added a dimensional behind there and glued it on. So it's just one more little pop of color on my cute little ice cream. And so the ice cream separates from the cone, and the cone tucks right under there. So that's my fun fold for today. I hope you enjoyed this. If you like the products or the projects you see here, you can find me at Carolina Creative or hashtag Carolina Creative. I'm also on the Stampin' Up! Network. It's Renee Keese at Stampin'Up.net. Thanks for joining me today, and stay tuned. There's a bunch of changes coming at Stampin' Up! We're no longer going to have host codes to take to our ordering sites, but every order you place, you will now get the rewards, starting at, a 10% reward for every dollar that you spend. So I will be sharing more information about that, but that is starting on the 15th, which is tomorrow. So lots of excitement. Thanks for joining me today.